Hello, Airhogs fans. Welcome to another edition of Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. We're broadcasting live on our Airhogs Ustream channel from Wichita, Kansas, here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium, and it's the second game of a three-game road series for the Airhogs against the division-leading Wichita Wingnuts. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Humphrey. Thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Last night, Airhogs extended their losing streak to 4 games. That's tied for their longest losing streak of the season. It was an 11-4 defeat last night. They fell behind 11-0 to the Wingnuts at one point in last night's game, as the Wingnuts offense did what they have been doing all season. And tonight, the Airhogs will have a tough test facing Tim Brown on the mound for Wichita. Brown this season will make start number 18, that is. He also has appeared one time in relief. This season, he has a record of 8-4 and an ERA of 3.39. Is coming off a loss at Winnipeg, where he went 6 innings and allowed 4 runs. Only 2 of them were earned. 2 strikeouts and a walk against Winnipeg. This season against Grand Prairie, he is 1-1. Last start was a win on June 6th. He also allowed the Airhogs their first win of the season way back on May 17th. This is the lineup that he will face from the Grand Prairie Airhogs under manager Eric Champion. And leading it off is Jimmy Mojica, the shortstop. And then batting second, Alex Nunez at second base. Batting third, Abel Nieves, the third baseman. Then batting cleanup will be the first baseman, Jason Botts. Batting fifth, back in the lineup from injury, Frazier Hall in right field. Then batting sixth, and the designated hitter tonight, Matthew Burns. Then batting seventh, Madison Carter playing in left field. Batting eighth, the catcher, Brian Peterson. And then batting ninth, Eric Baker playing in center. Airhogs managed just 4 runs on their 10 hits last night, left 9 runners on base. That's been a problem that they've had in the last week or so. Losing their last 2 series now against Amarillo at home and Laredo on the road. That series they got swept by 3 games by the Laredo Lemurs, as Jimmy Mojica will lead it off against Tim Brown. First pitch is on the inside edge for called strike 1. Our first pitch is at 7:09 p.m. local time. It's around 90 degrees here in Wichita, Kansas, as the 0-1 comes to the plate. It's a little high this time for ball 1. Mojica last night 0 for 5, and he's continuing to struggle at the plate as of late. Only 2 base hits in his last 4 games as he pops one foul down the right-hand side. Move the count to 1-2. Mojica is a former Wichita Wingnut, only played 14 games for them in 2011, as he swings and bounces one foul into the Wichita dugout on the third base line, and it's still 1-2. Tim Brown is a native of St. Louis, played his college ball at Pittsburgh State University. He is 27 years old. Here's the pitch, and it's chopped over to the middle of the infield. Taking it now is Corey, but he won't have a play as Mojica slides in safely to first base. Corey just thinking it was better to eat that ground ball instead of trying to make a play over to first, where it would have been questionable as to whether or not he would have gotten Mojica at the first base bag, so decided to keep the damage at just an infield single for Jimmy Mojica as Alex Nunez will bat. Nunez has been hitting great in his last few games. He is on a 4-game hitting streak right now, and last night he had his first home run of the season with the Airhogs in the 9th inning. Here's the pitch from Brown, and Nunez will take it outside for ball 1. Nunez is now eligible for the batting race in the American Association, and he's 4th in batting average this year at .356. Playing in 52 games for the Airhogs, he will take called strike 1 on the outside corner. The next pitch. Nunez started out with the Sugar Land Skeeters in 2014. After coming back from retirement, here comes the pitch, and it's driven foul a long way down the right-hand side, but that'll drift out of play at Lawrence Dumont, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Nunez with Abel Nieves on deck. So Mojica with his first base hit in 4 games now to start off this second game of the 3-game set with Wichita Wingnuts. Here comes the pitch. The 1-2 is bounced foul by Alex Nunez, and it'll land into the seats behind the Airhogs dugout on the first base side. Still a ball and 2 strikes to the left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher Brown. No outs and a man on first for the Air Hogs in the top of the first inning. Brown sets and delivers. That's called strike 3 on the outside corner. Nunez is slowly walking back to the dugout, not liking the call from the home plate umpire, David Frame, and that'll be out number 1. Frame is behind the plate calling balls and strikes, and at first base is Brian Child, and at third base, Trent Delmont. 1 out and 1 on for Abel Nieves, the all-star third baseman. Nieves also a 4-game hitting streak, and he's at .334 batting this year. He will swing and miss at a nice off-speed pitch from Tim Brown. Nieves is now 10th in the American Association in batting average. Last night, Nieves went 2 for 5 with a double and a single and a run scored. He'll take another curveball in there for called strike 1. Or called strike 2, I should say. And it's no balls and 2 strikes to Nieves with a runner on first and 1 out. Righty versus righty as Brown sets at the belt again. Here comes the 0-2. And it's over the plate but low. Jason Bott's on deck for the Air Hogs, who have now matched their longest losing streak of the season. Trying to look for their first win since Sunday against Amarillo as Nieves bounces one foul into his body. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to Nieves. Here's your defensive lineup for the Wichita Wingnuts. At first base, David Espinosa. At second base, Taylor Oldham. At shortstop, Ryan Corey. At third base, Chris McClendon. In left field, Jake Lucci. In center field, Brent Cleveland. In right field, Carlo Testa. And behind the plate, Chris McMurray. Here's the 1-2 to Nieves. It's bounced to the right side. Picking up, Oldham flips to his shortstop to get the force on Mojica, the lead runner, but that will be just out number 2 as Nieves will be safe on the fielder's choice. So 2 outs and still a man on first for the Air Hogs as Jason Botts, their leading run producer this year, steps to the plate. Botts last night had a run driven in on a single in the 8th inning, going 2 for 4 overall. Botts now 62 runs batted in on the season, 5th best in the league. He's a switch hitter batting lefty, and Brown, the righty, delivers ball 1 outside. Runner on first and 2 outs for the Air Hogs as Botts with a .314 batting average looks at a pitch outside again from Tim Brown. And it's 2-0. Jason Botts also leads the Air Hogs with 9 homers this year, but he hasn't had one in at least a couple of weeks as here's the pitch, and it's driven into right field, a base hit, and it's sharply hit to Testa, who throws to second base to try and see if he can get a force on Nieves, but cannot do so as Botts will be on with the single. Well, the Air Hogs only managed 1 base hit in the first 4 innings of last night's contest, but have 2 in the first against Wichita as Frazier Hall steps in. Hall has had a nagging foot injury this week, was out of the lineup last night, but is inserted tonight as he swings and chops one foul to the first baseman. Actually, it's in fair territory. Espinosa picks it up, steps on the bag, ends the top of the first for the Air Hogs, who leave a couple of men on base. They get no runs on 2 hits, and the Wingnuts will come up to bat for the first time tonight when we go to the bottom of the first inning here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Bottom of the first inning, No score yet at Lawrence Dumont Stadium in the second of this three-game set. Air Hogs will send Ryan Searle to the mound to face the Wingnuts. Searle this season a record of 5-7, ERA of 4.35, and last start was a win in 7 innings against the Amarillo Sox. Only 2 runs allowed on 7 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts, and he got himself in the win column for the first time since July 21st in that Sunday start against Amarillo. He's an Australian native, 25 years old, and the former Cubs prospect. This is the lineup that he will face from the Wichita Wingnuts under manager Kevin Hooper, and it'll lead off with Ryan Corey, the shortstop, then batting second, Jake Lucci in left field, then batting third, David Espinosa, the first baseman, then batting cleanup will be Brent Cleveland, the short center fielder, then Carlo Testa, the right fielder, bats fifth, then batting sixth, the catcher, Chris McMurray, then at third base, batting seventh, Chris McClendon, Brent Dean, the DH, will bat eighth, and then batting ninth, Taylor Oldham at second base. Ryan Corey the first up. Corey, best on base percentage in the league at .443. And Corey reached 4 out of 5 times last night, going 3 for 4 with a run scored and 2 runs driven in. Righty versus righty as Searle looks in. Now starts his windup for the first pitch to Corey, and it's a little high for ball 1. Ryan Corey this season, .325 batting average, 11 homers and 49 driven in as Searle winds up again. It is on the inside corner this time for called strike 1. Ryan Searle has been playing professionally since he was 17 years old, playing in Australia, national teams in the World Cup, and as well as in the Cubs minor league organization. As he pops one foul, Corey does, as that'll move the count to 1-2 strikes. Last team that Searle played for was the Tennessee Smokies, a AA club for Chicago Cubs. That was earlier this season. Last year was in Daytona. 1-2 strikes to Ryan Corey. Second year as the shortstop for the Wingnuts, and Searle gets the pitch he wants, delivers the 1-2, and it's low to the catcher Brian Peterson. It's now 2-2 strikes with Jake Lucci on deck. Well, the Air Hogs, after last night's loss, moved their record against Wichita to 5-9 on the season. 2-2 pitches bounced right back to the pitcher's mound. Searle with the pick, and the short flipped over to Jason Botts. It was a little low at the feet of Botts there, but in the end, no trouble on out number 1. Here's the defensive lineup for the Grand Prairie Air Hogs. At first base, Jason Botts. At second base, Alex Nunez. At shortstop, Jimmy Mojica. At third base, Abel Nieves. And in left field, Madison Carter. Center field, Eric Baker. In right field, Frazier Hall. And then the catcher behind the plate, Brian Peterson. 1 out, nobody on. And Jake Lucci will be the next batter. Lucci has been quite a good hitter for Wichita in his first 17 games with the team. .381 batting average, and last night was no different. 2 for 5 with a 3-run home run as he takes ball 1 low from Searle. Lucci back in left field. Made his way over to the Wichita Wingnuts by way of the Brownsville Charros in the United League. A shown bunt. It's called strike 2 as Lucci pulled back. It's called strike 1, that is. And it's now a ball and a strike to Jake Lucci. Left-handed batter against Searle, the right-handed pitcher. Base is empty. 1 out in this bottom of the first. The 1-1 is on the ground to the shortstop Mojica. Comes in, loses it out of his glove, and safe at first is Lucci. Well, Mojica was shifting to his right side, and it just appeared to bounce off of the roof of his glove there, and that'll be a safe reach there for Lucci and possibly an error for the shortstop Mojica. Now Espinosa will be the batter. Espinosa last night only managed 1 base hit in 5 at-bats, scoring a run. And that 1 hit was a triple. His 14th triple of the season. It is going to be ruled a base hit for Jake Lucci there on that ground ball to Mojica. The first pitch to Espinosa swung on and missed. David Espinosa is a former Air Hog, as well as a former Kansas City T-Bone where he played earlier this season. Now in game number 21 as a member of the division-leading Wichita Wingnuts. That's called strike 2 on the outside corner. Espinosa behind 0-2 in the count against Ryan Searle. Man on first after the infield single. That's what it's being ruled. With only one out in this bottom of the first inning. Switch hitter batting lefty against Searle. He's now set a long pause, and now here comes the pitch. Low, and it gets away from Peterson. Going to second base is Lucci. That was low and in to the batter Espinosa on the left-hand side of the box. But Peterson got his glove to it, and it rolled slowly towards to his right side, and now Lucci will be safe at second base. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to Espinosa with Brent Cleveland on deck. Searle nods and sets at the belt. Here comes the pitch to Espinosa, and it's past the glove of Searle. Sliding stop by Nunez, gets the throw over to first just in time to beat the speedy David Espinosa there. And Nunez making a nice sliding stop on the turf. And an inline throw to Jason Botts to make out number 2. Moving to third on the play is Lucci. Now it'll be Brent Cleveland, the clean-up hitter. Second in the league and runs batted in with 67. He had one last night. Or he did not have one. He went 0 for 4 and was subbed out by David Amberson. Now batting .360 after not being able to get a base hit last night as Searle delivers the first pitch, and it's just a little high of the zone, ball 1. Well, Brent Cleveland was not always the best run producer on the team for the Wingnuts, as well as the best batting average. That used to be Carlo Testa, who's on deck, as Searle now delivers a pitch low to Cleveland. 2-0 the count. Testa usually occupied the first or second place in the batting race in the American Association in the early part of this 2014 season, but now Cleveland is second in the league in batting average at .360. The pitch is looped over the head of Nunez this time into right center field. That'll score Jake Lucci and make it 1-0 Wingnuts in the first. Well, Wichita was the first to score last night. They got 4 runs in the third. Now getting off to a little bit of an earlier start on the offensive side of things here in this second game. And it'll bring up Carlo Testa. Left-handed batter against Searle, the right-handed pitcher. Searle has one start against Wichita this year. It was a loss on July 15th at home at Quick Trip Park. Gave up 4 runs on 9 hits, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. And so far, this start not really going the way he planned, as Testa will bat with 2 outs and a man on first. Here comes the pitch. Runner going on the first pitch. Outside, the throw to second is not going to be in time. Mojica couldn't get a tag down. It's a stolen bag for Brent Cleveland. .13 on the year for the Wichita center fielder, and Testa now has a runner in scoring position with 2 gone in the first. And the Wingnuts up 1-0. Searle sets the belt. Here comes the next pitch, and it's in tight this time. Belt high to Testa, ball 2. .332 batting average on the year for Testa. He had a home run last night, a solo shot, going 2 for 5. He looks at the next pitch, and it's in there for called strike 1. Ryan Searle with a 2-2 record in his last 5 starts and got his first win since early July last start out. And here's a chopper to Mojica, and he just barely gets the throw to Testa, who thought he was safe. But Mojica just barely able to beat the right fielder for Wichita at the first base bag, and that'll end the first inning. But a run scores for Wichita on 2 hits, and 1 man is left on base. After 1, it's Wingnuts up 1-0 on Grand Prairie. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. And the Airhogs trailing early as we start the second inning. 1-0 is the score in favor of Wichita as the DH, Matthew Burns, will be up batting in the 6th hole tonight. And Burns earning a spot in the DH slot due to the fact that he's had 3 home runs in the last 4 games. But if you look closer at his stats, those have been his only 3 base hits in those 4 games as well. He'll look at called strike 1 on the inside corner from Tim Brown. Burns taking the DH slot from Brian Myro, who has occupied that spot for most of the season with Grand Prairie, and he'll take called strike 2 that time. Burns now 3 home runs on the season and 8 RBIs after his 2-run shot to left field last night. Tim Brown with the windup and the pitch, lined on the ground. 1 hop fielded by David Espinosa, the first baseman, takes it to the bag for out number 1. Now another rookie up for the Airhogs after Burns. It'll be Madison Carter. Carter started in left last night as well and went 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Windup and the first pitch from Brown right down the middle for called strike 1. And Madison Carter is looking for his first RBI in quite a while for the Airhogs. He had 6 in his first week as a member of the team, and since then has only had 2 as he pops 1 foul. And it snowballs in 2 strikes to Carter. Rookie out of the University of Texas, youngest player on the team at 22. Righty versus righty, no balls and 2 strikes. Wind up in the pitch from Tim Brown is a little outside and low at the feet of Madison Carter. 1-2 now with Brian Peterson due up on deck. And here is the 1-2 delivery. A little low this time and inside to Carter, evening the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the next pitch on the 2-2. It's hit high in the air to left field. Going back, Lucci. A few steps towards the warning track, and he makes the catch just a few yards away from the wall. Carter a long drive, but not carrying for him as he will sit down on out number 2. Now the catcher, Brian Peterson, will be the batter. 2 outs, nobody on base. Peterson last night 0 for 3 at the plate. Batting 6th in the lineup last night. Now he moved all the way down to 8 in tonight's game. Here comes the pitch from Tim Brown, and Peterson takes it for called strike 1, splits home plate in half. And it's 0-1 the count. Peterson has only played in 1 game against Wichita since he's been with the Air Hogs for only a few weeks. This is the first series between these two since mid-July. They'll have one more series at Grand Prairie on August 25th through the 27th to finish out their season series between the two. 1 ball and 2 strikes. After that, pitch finds the zone from Tim Brown. Eric Baker on deck if Peterson can reach. Here comes the windup in the 1-2. Ooh, it just missed the outside corner there from Brown. David Frame calling the balls and strikes behind the plate. He called the series between the Air Hogs and the Lemurs just last week, and that'll be called strike 3. Peterson shaking his head in disbelief there against that call from David Frame, and that's a strikeout to complete the 1-2-3 inning for Tim Brown, and after 1.5, it's still 1-0 Wingnuts. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Bottom of the 2nd inning here in Wichita, Kansas at Lawrence Dumont Stadium, and the Air Hogs are trailing the Wingnuts 1-0 in the early going. And the first batter of this bottom of the 2nd will be the catcher, Chris McMurray. McMurray last night had a double going 1 for 4, and he also scored a run. Batting 6th in the lineup, he'll be followed by the other Chris McClendon at third base, and then Brent Dean, the DH, will follow him in this bottom of the 2nd. Ryan Searle will wind up and deliver to McMurray, and it's called strike 1 on the inside corner. Well, Searle doesn't waste too much time between his pitches when bases are empty. A quick worker, kind of like Jason Jarvis for the Air Hogs in their rotation. Jarvis was the starter last night. Here comes the pitch from Searle again, and it's a little low this time, ball 1. Almost everybody for Wichita likes to work quickly. That's part of the reason why they have one of the best pitching staffs in the league as far as ERA is concerned. Next pitch chopped foul by McMurray, and it's still, or that moves the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Air Hogs and team ERA this season are ranked 9th in the league at a mark just above 5 runs per 9 innings, 5.06. Time is called before the 1-2 pitch from Ryan Searle. Chris McMurray steps out of the box momentarily. A ball and 2 strikes. Chris McClendon on deck. Here is the pitch from Searle, and it's again low of the zone there. Evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. McMurray was selected as an all-star this year. He's batting .262, 5 homers and 53 runs driven in. Searle delivers again. This time it's outside. Moving the count full against McMurray. The former member of AA Birmingham in the Chicago White Sox minor league system. Lives in Mission Viejo, California. Inside, turning backwards on that pitch was McMurray. He'll take a walk on ball 4. So a leadoff walk for McMurray brings up Chris McClendon, who had a great night last night, not just at the plate, but also defensively with a couple of sliding stops on the turf. And it's tough to do that on this artificial surface field here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium, but you can ask some of the Wichita guys. They've started to grow used to it. McClendon last night scored a couple of runs, going 1 for 3. Searle swings or delivers the pitch, which is swung on and foul tipped by McClendon into the mitt of Brian Peterson, who couldn't handle it under the foul tip there, and it's strike 1. Brent Dean, the DH on deck, left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher Ryan Searle, who puts his foot just on the edge of the first base side of the rubber. Here comes the pitch on the 0-1, and it's in tight a little bit, missing the inside corner for ball 1. Glendon stepping in again, and we'll look to try and extend things here with the runner on first and nobody out. That pitch is a breaking ball outside. 2-1. Ryan Searle 5-7 on the year. He told me earlier that this season has been very different from other ones that he's had in the Cubs organization. He's had great seasons playing for Australian national teams and Cubs minor league teams, but this season has been much different as this is lined into left center field over the head of Mojica. Going from first to third is the base runner McMurray, and that's a single for McClendon to start off his night at the plate, and it puts runners at the corners with nobody out. So Searle still struggling here against the Wingnuts, who played at 11 runs on 15 hits last night. The DH, Brent Dean, had a nice hand in that, going 3 for 4, scoring a couple of runs in last night's contest. Pearson in front of home plate calls out the infield signals to the Air Hogs as they're ready to start off this at-bat against Brent Dean. Dean is listed as the backup catcher, but has occupied the DH spot the last couple of nights against the Air Hogs. Searle with the first pitch to the right-handed batter, and he takes called strike 1 right over the plate. So it's runners at the corners and nobody out. Ryan Searle still looking to sit down some batters here. Runner not going at first base, attempted to at first, but swung on and missed by Dean, and it's 0-2 to the batter. Dean, .314 hitting in 12 games with Wichita this year. Has a home run and 4 runs driven in. Native of California, last played in the Brewers minor league system for Brevard County. That's their high A club. Still listed as a rookie this year. Here comes the pitch on the 0-2 from Searle, just wrapping around the plate there, and it's ball and 2 strikes to Dean. Taylor Oldham in the 9 spot is on deck for Wichita. Searle told me that some of these batters that he's faced in this league have been some of the best batters he's ever seen, as the runner will go on this 1-2. The throw to second base is going to be in time, and the tag will also be applied before McClendon can slide into the second base bag, and he will be caught stealing 2-4 on the play. So Searle getting a little bit of help there from his defense to knock out one base runner. There's still that runner at third base with one out, and the infield will shift in to the green part of the turf on the infield diamond for the rest of this at-bat against Brent Dean. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Runner on third and only one out in this bottom of the second. Airhogs down by a run as Dean calls time and steps out of the box. That will also allow for Brian Peterson to trot out to the pitcher's mound to talk with his starter Ryan Searle, who is making his 17th start of the year for the Airhogs. In his last 5 starts, he's got a record of 2-2. He's had to face Laredo twice, and Laredo's quite the offensive team to face against if you're a pitcher on the mound, and it's been a tough going against Laredo this season for Ryan Searle. 0-4 in his starts against them are the team. The pitch to Dean is bounced to the left side. Nieves stares down the runner, goes to first, and that's a nice play there from the all-star third baseman, keeping the runner at third base on out number 2. And that'll allow the infield to go back to its normal depth for the next batter, Taylor Oldham. Taylor Oldham now. Second baseman tonight batting in the 9-hole once again, as he did last night. He went 2 for 3, driving in 3 runs in total in last night's game. Right-handed batter against Searle, the righty, on the mound. Run around third base and 2 gone in the bottom of the second inning. Here comes Searle with the first pitch, and it's called strike 1 on the outer part of the plate. Taylor Oldham, another rookie. He played in Taos in the Pecos League earlier this season. Native of Orlando, Florida. He's 25 years old. It's low this time, even though it's over the plate. It's ball 1. Taylor Oldham has a couple of home runs as well as 19 RBIs in his time here in Wichita. Usually used as a utility infielder and outfielder. Doesn't always get the start for Kevin Hooper, but is a serviceable bench player. Filling in at second base for the injured Jake Cahalaleo for Wichita, as the pitch from Searle on the 1-1 was outside, making the count 2 balls and a strike. On deck is the top of the order, Ryan Corey. Runner on third base and 2 gone in the bottom of the second. Searle with the 2-1. Bounces away from Peterson and goes all the way to the Wichita dugout, as scoring easily on the play is Chris McMurray on the wild pitch. 2-0 now. Wingnuts on top in the second inning. That will certainly be a wild pitch to Ryan Searle. The last one in the first inning was also a wild pitch. A little bit questionable, though, as it did come off of the glove of Brian Peterson and rolled very slowly away from him. Here's the 3-1 now to Oldham. Chop to the left side. Nieves fields on a long hop and a sidearm throw to first base to end the second inning for Ryan Searle. But another run scores on 1 hit, and nobody's left on base that time for the Wingnuts, as they now lead it 2-0 going to the third inning here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. We have the bottom of the third inning, or the top of the third inning for you now at Lawrence Dumont Stadium in Wichita, Kansas. Airhogs down 2-0 to the Wingnuts as Eric Baker will be the first batter of this third inning. Baker now with a 6-game hitting streak. That's the longest current hitting streak on the team so far. For the Airhogs, he'll face Tim Brown, so it'll be a tall task to try and extend that as the first pitch from Brown is a breaking ball in there for called strike one. Baker last night went 1 for 4 with a single, and it came in the 8th inning, so nice job in at least trying to extend that hitting streak there, but it was not really influential in the offensive part of things last night for the Airhogs as he lines one foul into the screen just below us in the press box, nothing into the count. Due up in this top of the third after Baker will be Jimmy Mojica and Alex Nunez. No balls and 2 strikes, and the pitch from Brown is outside this time, ball 1. Eric Baker, a 26-year-old rookie, played his college ball at Rogers State, also lives in the Oklahoma area as he calls time here and resets as Tim Brown will also do so on the pitcher's rubber. Now winds up and delivers the 1-2, and it's chopped to the left side. Charging in the third baseman, McClendon scoops it up on a short hop, and the throw was just to the left of Espinosa, but he keeps his foot on the bag. And McClendon, with somewhat of a Matador's move there with his glove, trying to scoop that high chopper on a short hop there from Eric Baker, and it'll be out number 1. Now Jimmy Mojica will be the batter. Mojica just grabbed his first base hit in 4 games earlier in the first inning, an infield single. First pitch is just low for ball 1. Mojica now batting with an average of .286. Just a couple of weeks ago, he was above the 300 mark, but has been struggling at the plate as of late, especially against the Laredo Lemurs. He had no base hits in the last 2 games of that series against Laredo. He'll take strike 1. That moves the count to 2-1 against Tim Brown. Alex Nunez on deck. The pitch from Brown is taken for called strike 2. Even count again at 2 balls and 2 strikes to the 30-year-old veteran shortstop who spent most of his career in independent ball. He looks at another pitch, and it's just outside the outer part of the plate, moves the count full. Tim Brown looking for his second win of the season against the Airhogs. This pitch is bounced sharply foul down the third base line. Tim Brown, 2 starts against Grand Prairie. May 17th was a loss. June 6th was a win. 7 innings and only 2 runs allowed. Mojica chops another pitch foul down the third base line, and it's still 3-2. Manager Kevin Hooper said that Tim Brown was a guy that he kept his eye on ever since he saw him pitch for Lincoln in 2009 as a true rookie. Here's the payoff pitch. It's way inside to Mojica, and he'll draw a walk on ball 4. Brown pitches to Kevin Hooper's philosophy of going right at guys, pounds the zone, and lets the defense do some work behind him as well. He's been excited to have Tim Brown on his pitching staff this year, and that's part of the reason why this Wichita rotation has been so overwhelming this season in this league. Runner on first and 1 out for Alex Nunez, who bounces one foul down the third base line. It'll find the seats. Nunez struck out looking in the first. Last night went 2 for 5 and had a solo home run in the 9th inning, his first home run in his time here in Grand Prairie. Now here's the pitch on the 0-1, and it's blocked by McMurray in the turf there for ball 1. On deck is Abel Nieves, the former Wingnut. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher, runner on first, one out. Sharply bounced to the second baseman, flips to Corey, goes to first. 4-6-3 twin killing there to end the third inning for Tim Brown. So no runs, no hits, and nobody left for the Airhogs in the top of the third. And we'll go to the bottom half of the inning with the score, still 2-0 Wingnuts. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Bottom of the third inning. Wingnuts 2, Airhogs nothing. Let's take a look at some other scores around the American Association tonight. Kansas City up 1-0 in the early going against Gary South Shore. That's the top of the third there in Kansas City. Interleague matchup between the New Jersey Jackals and the St. Paul Saints. Right now, New Jersey up 1-0 in the bottom of the third. 5-0 is the score. Lincoln on top of Sioux City in the bottom of the third inning in Sioux City. Wichita 3, Sioux Falls 1. Bottom of the seventh there in Sioux Falls. As strike one is delivered to Ryan Corey, the first batter of this bottom of the third. Still yet to start Fargo Moorhead and Three Rivers. Scheduled to start at 7:05 p.m. That appears to be delayed in Canada as the 0-1 is lined up the middle, and it'll be a base hit for Ryan Corey on an 0-1 pitch from Ryan Searle. Corey now 1 for 2 tonight. Another thing to note, Laredo and Amarillo are also rained out, and something interesting happened on the field at Amarillo as they tried to prevent the rain delay and get the field ready for a doubleheader since they were rained out last night as well. James Nasser will have more on that when he takes over for the 4th, 5th, and 6th here in tonight's game here on Ustream, as the next batter is Jake Lucci, the left fielder. He's 1 for 1 tonight, singled and scored in the first inning. First pitch is taken for strike one. Lucci batting very well in his first 17 games as a Wingnut, .381, and had his first home run with the team last night, a 3-run shot to left center. So he went off the opposite field. Searle way outside on the 0-1. Peterson had to slide quickly to his left side to catch it into his mitt, and it's 1-1. David Espinosa due up after David Lucci in the top of the third. Ryan Corey on first with nobody out. It's ball and a strike to Lucci. Pitch is low and in. And blocking it into the turf there is Peterson. 2-1 now to Jake Lucci, the left fielder. Wingnut signed another outfielder today, acquiring him in a trade. That was Jared McDonald. Acquired them from the St. Paul Saints. And they put David Amberson on the disabled list to make room for him in the active roster. 2 balls and 1 strike. That is called strike 2 on a breaking pitch there from Searle. Finds the outer edge, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Speaking of St. Paul, a former Air Hog was picked up by them today. It was Vince DeFazio, the catcher who was an all-star selection from the Airhogs this season. So he's now with the St. Paul Saints. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch from Searle is lined down the line, and it's fair. And it'll roll off of the wall in left as going to third base is Corey, and staying at second on the double is Lucci. So another good offensive start in this third inning against Ryan Searle for the Wingnuts, as they have second and third with nobody out and already lead by a couple of runs. That's the 5th base hit of the game for Wichita. It'll bring up David Espinosa, who grounded out to second base on a nice sliding stop by Alex Nunez. So 2 runners in scoring position for Espinosa. But unfortunately, he hasn't batted well with runners in scoring with the Wingnuts this year, even though it's not that much of a sample size. 22 at-bats, and he's only batting .091. He pops one foul from Ryan Searle for strike 1. Espinosa, total on the season, has 4 home runs and 35 runs driven in. Only 3 jacks with the Wingnuts as this loops over the head of the Evanson. It's going to bounce fair down the line in left field, and both runners are going to score as Espinosa will have a 2-run RBI double here in this third inning. And Ryan Searle really not having the best start to this 18th start of the season for him, and this will draw a meeting from pitching coach Jeff Russell on the 2-run RBI double by David Espinosa. So Russell out to chat with his starter Ryan Searle. And I will say, folks, at first I saw Russell at the hotel a day ago, and he had all of his facial hair shaved off, so I almost didn't recognize him. He still has that mullet, though, so those of you that are fans of the mullet, he's keeping that for now. Russell right now the pitching coach in his first season with Grand Prairie, and most of you know him as the former Texas Rangers closer. Was a Texas Ranger from 1985 to 1992. So a runner on second base and still nobody out in this bottom of the third inning. 4-0 now is the lead for the Wingnuts. They won 11-4 last night and don't seem to be cooling down from the first game of this 3-game set. Still running here in this second game as the next batter is Brent Cleveland, who is still looking for his first RBI of the series. He did get a single in the first. That is low for ball 1. Brent Cleveland now second in the league in RBIs with 67. .362 batting average on the year. 1 for 1 tonight. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Runner on second, and nobody out. The pitch from Searle is popped high in the air, but it's going foul. And it's it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Cleveland with Carlo Testa on deck. Cleveland is a native of Lufkin, Texas, 30-year-old veteran in his second year with the Wichita Wingnuts. Second in the league in batting average, behind Casey Arthur for the batting title of Winnipeg, as the next pitch is also popped foul down the right side. That moves the count to 1-2. Ryan Searle is now at 52 pitches, and he still hasn't gotten an out in this third inning. Trying to turn things around this season, but it's tough to do that against a tough Wichita offense. Sets at the belt for the 1-2 pitch, and here it comes. Again, popped high in the air to the right side. It'll drift out of play from Brent Cleveland. Still a ball and 2 strikes. 4-0 is the lead now for the Wingnuts. They're out hitting the Airhogs 6-2. Best record in the American Association at 57-26 on the year. And the Airhogs well behind them, 21 games behind them, in fact, in the South. at 36-47 in 2014. The pitch from Searle is an off-speeder driven into right, a base hit. Being waved home now is Espinosa. The throw to the plate is going to be in time. The tag will also nab Espinosa there at the plate, and that'll be out number 1. Frazier Hall with the throw from right field. And David Peterson with nice position on the third base line there to give Espinosa as little of a path as possible. Applies the tag for out number 1 and takes away another RBI from Brent Cleveland. So 1 down, a runner on first base. It'll bring up the right fielder, Carlo Testa. Testa first time up, grounded out to the shortstop Mojica, but it was a very close play at first base. One in which both I and James thought that Mojica didn't really think that he got him at the first base bag. Testa did a nice job of trying to beat it out. But out was the call from Brian Child as this is popped foul down the left field side, going a long way and bouncing into the Wichita bullpen. It's a ball and a strike to Testa. Last played for Traverse City in the Frontier League. Runner on first base and 1 out for Wichita. Searle sets the belt once again, and the 1-1 pitch is upcoming, and here it comes. Swung on and missed. On a fastball whipped past the swing of Testa. Chris McMurray is on deck for Wichita with 1 out. Carlo Testa, .331 hitter. Had a home run last night, a solo shot to left field, went opposite field there. Searle looking at the signals, now sets. And here comes the 1-2, bounce down the first base line, another whirl foul into the Airhogs bullpen this time. It's still 1-2. Well, the Airhogs, with just their second to last road series of the season, the final one will be August 21st to 24th against the Amarillo Sox, a 4-game set there. So one thing that the Airhogs do have in their favor is that most of their games the rest of the way out will be at home. Here comes the 1-2, swung on and missed on a high fastball from Ryan Searle, and Testa will sit down on strikes, out number 2. First punch out of the game for Ryan. Still a runner on first, 2 outs, and Chris McMurray, the catcher, will be up again. He drew a walk in the second inning and scored on a wild pitch by Ryan Searle. Four nothing is the lead for Wichita. 7 hits compared to the Airhogs' 2 hits. McMurray will take strike 1. Chris McMurray this year has started in all the games that he's played in, 72 this year, a .262 batter with 5 home runs. This is outside, the runner will go. The tag not in time to catch Brent Cleveland. He'll steal another bag, stole one in the first inning, and now again in the third. Now runner in scoring position for Chris McMurray, who does have a total of 53 RBIs on the season. That's quite a bit for a catcher this year in the American Association. Searle set again for the 1-1. Here it comes to McMurray, popped high in the air to shallow right center. Going out to position underneath it is Nunez. Catches it right over the bill of his cap for out number 3. So that will end the third inning here, but 2 more runs are tacked on the board by Wichita on 4 base hits, and they leave 1 man on base. It is now 4-0 Wichita going to the 4th. James Nasser will bring you the next 3 innings here from Wichita, Kansas. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball.
All right, welcome back, Airhogs fans. Top of the fourth here in Wichita. Wingnuts up 4-0 over the Airhogs. And the pitch will be out of the zone, a little low to Abel Nieves. Tim Brown still on the hill for Wichita. He's the starter. Now the 1-0 pitch. Brown working quickly. It's swung and fouled. Chopped towards the Wingnuts dugout, just a little bit past it. It'll roll off that wall. Counts 1-1 to Abel Nieves. He reached on a fielder's choice in the first and was stranded at second that inning. That's the farthest an Airhog has gotten this ball game on the base paths, as the 1-1 pitch will be outside. Count runs 2 balls and 1 strike. Now Brown working quickly the 2-1. He chopped off the plate. It'll go down the first baseline high in the air. It's fair. Catching it along the line behind the bag is Espinoza. He'll tag first quickly, just getting Nieves for the out, 3 unassisted. Now, as Andy alluded to earlier, there was some interesting stuff going on in Amarillo. They're rained out for the second night in a row between the Amarillo Sox and the Laredo Lemurs. And earlier in the afternoon, to try and get the field ready to play, the grounds crew in Amarillo had some interesting tactics to dry the field. Earlier in the year between the Lemurs and the Sox in Amarillo, they were rained out because it rained the night before and the tarp wasn't on the field, and the field was too wet to play on the next day. The first pitch, Jason Botts, will be in there for a strike on the outer half. 0-1. So that field does not drain very well, and so to get the field ready quicker, they burned it. Well, the 0-1 pitch is swung on and fouled to the left side. It'll get a play. Now it's 0-2. You heard that correctly. They burned it. Now, I don't know exactly what they used, but the pictures I've been sent and have seen online, there are scorch marks along the infield between first and second base, kind of where the second baseman would play, and then on the left side of the infield as well, between second and third. Here comes the 0-2 to Botts. Down and away for a ball, 1-2. And I looked up see if there's other instances, because I feel like I'd heard of this kind of thing happening before. The 1-2 pitch. It'll be low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Botts. 1 out, no one on for the Airhogs here. It's the top of the fourth. 4-0 is the score. Wingnuts leading Grand Prairie. And now the 2-2 pitch to Botts. It'll be outside as well. So after getting ahead of Jason Botts 0-2, Brown has thrown 3 straight balls just off the plate. Not wanting Botts to get anything good to hit. Now the payoff pitch. It'll be swung on and lined down the first baseline, but it'll be just a little bit foul. Ended up in the bullpen over there by the Airhogs. Count still 3 balls and 2 strikes. So I guess the tactic, I'm not a scientist. I don't know what kind of science that would be, biology or chemistry, maybe a combination of the two there. I don't know. Another 3-2. Just outside. It'll be ball 4. Botts is aboard. Second walk of the ball game issued by Brown here tonight. But in Canada, a few years back, they burned the field. They put diesel fuel on the ground, and they lit that on fire. So I don't know what they used in Amarillo. I just saw the scorch marks. It was black on the infield. It was definitely burned with fire. I don't know if they put some wood on it and burned it, or if they just threw some kind of gasoline on there and burned it. The first pitch is outside to Fraser Hall. 1-0. Run on first for Grand Prairie. They trail 4-0 to Wichita here in the top of the fourth. And 1 out in the inning. Fraser Hall 0 for 1 today. Batting from the left side on the pitch. He'll be on the inside corner for a strike. 1-1. But it looked pretty bad. The infield did. Saw a few pictures. One that was up close and one that was pulled back from the broadcast booth. They didn't end up playing. It ended up raining again. Now the 1-1, low and away. It was close, but no cigar. 2 balls and 1 strike. Apparently they had the field ready to play. Like it was dry enough. They were going to play, but then the rains came back in Amarillo, so they were rained out again. They will play a doubleheader tomorrow and then play a game in Laredo in a couple weeks when the Sox go there for the last series of their season against each other. As the ball is hit to the right side, it'll get through the infield into right for a base hit. Fraser Hall aboard at first base. It's a single. Runners on first and second for Grand Prairie. They're threatening here. One out in the fourth. They trail 4-0 to the Wichita Wingnuts, and it'll be Matthew Burns coming to the plate. Burns, the DH tonight. He had a 2-run home run last night in the 8th inning. In fact, he's been coming alive here with the power swing lately. In the last 5 games, he's played in 4 of them for Grand Prairie. He's batting 3 for 10 with 3 home runs. 6 runs batted in, so Airhawks could use a round tripper here with runners on first and second, down by 4. Now the pitch, he squares around and bunts, but he won't make contact with it, and the bat goes through the zone. That'll be called a strike. 0-1. McMurray jumped out of his crouch as if to throw down to second, but I don't think anyone was covering the bag, and he ended up holding on to the ball. So an interesting tactic there used by the ground crew in Amarillo. I heard that. I said, what, they burned the field? Oh, the 0-1 pitch. That'll be on the outside corner for a strike. 0-2 now to Matthew Burns. That field has enough issues as it does already. I don't know that burning would help it anymore. Now the 0-2 pitch. It'll be outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Burns. At first base is Fraser Hall. At second base is Botts. Hall singled and Botts walked. 1 out in the fourth. It's a 4-0 ball game. Wingnuts leading the Airhogs. Brown on the hill, the 1-2. Wave and a miss. It'll be strike 3. Burns can't find the breaking ball on the outside corner of the plate. Second out of the inning. Madison Carter coming to the plate, 0 for 1 tonight. Carter last night was 2 for 3 with a walk. He had 2 singles. Those were in the 7th and 8th innings. Also had a stolen base in there. He'll dig in from the right side. Runners will get their leads. Brown will deliver, and will be just outside for a ball, 1-0. Carter in the last 10 ball games, he's played in 7 of them and is batting .300. And in the last 5 games, which he's played in 3, he's batting .444. Now the 0-1. That'll be in there for a strike. Or the 1-0, I'm sorry, he's in there for a strike. So 1 ball and 1 strike. But he's been one of the hottest hitters at the moment for the Grand Prairie Airhogs. Hoping he can continue that here with a runner in scoring position. Here comes the 1-1. A check swing, but it's a called strike nonetheless. Counts 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Airhogs left fielder. So far, the Wingnuts have scored in every inning. 1 run in each of the first and second, and 2 runs in the third. 1-2 the count to Carter. Here it comes. It'll be outside. It'll tip off of the glove of McMurray. It looked kind of like he was going to try and frame that pitch, so he didn't move the glove very far over to the outside portion of the plate. And because he did that, he didn't quite catch the ball. Runners will advance on the, we'll say it's a wild pitch. We'll see what the official scorer says, though. So it'll be second and third now, and it'll in a 2-2 count to Carter. Big opportunity here now for the Airhogs here with 2 down in the top of the fourth with 2 runners in scoring position. Botts at third and Hall at second. And here comes the break-even pitch. It swung on and grounded to the left side. It'll be Brown coming off the mound to try and make the play. He'll fire over to first, just getting Carter by about a step. That'll end the inning. The Airhogs strand a couple of runners in scoring position as they fail to take advantage of that opportunity. We head to the bottom of the fourth. Wichita leading Grand Prairie 4-0. All right, we're back in Wichita. Wingnuts coming up to the plate as they take on the Grand Prairie Airhogs. Airhogs trailing right now. They're down 4-0. We're in the bottom of the fourth. So far, the Wingnuts have scored one in each the first and second innings and then two in the third. They have a total of 7 hits. Grand Prairie has a total of 3 hits. Leading off for the Wingnuts, it'll be Chris McClendon, the third baseman. He'll be followed by Brent Dean and Taylor Oldham. So the 7, 8, 9 hitters due up at the plate. And the pitch to McClendon. It'll be swung on and grounded right to the shortstop, Mojica. And he'll stand there, scoop it up, and fire over to first for the out. 6-3 on the putout. For out number 1, 1 pitch, 1 out of the hand of Ryan Searle here in the 4th inning. That'll bring up Brent Dean to the plate. He's the DH tonight for Wichita. 0 for 1 in the ball game. Last night, Dean had a pretty solid ball game, though. He went 3 for 4 last night. He singled in each of his first 3 at-bats, scored a pair of runs, and got a steal in there. He later struck out. Here comes the first pitch out of the hand of Searle to him. It's inside for ball 1. Searle towing the first base side of the rubber. No wind in the 1-0 pitch. We swung on and hit hard, high, and deep into left field, but it'll hook foul. It'll land beyond the batting cages over there in the left field. It's just a long strike. I say Searle toes that first base side. He has that right foot on the very edge of the rubber, touching it with his toe, and that left foot well off of the rubber, almost on the downward slant of the mound. Oh, wide of the 1-1. Swung on and missed. Dean going down to a knee almost in that swing. And it's now 1-2. The count to the DH tonight for Wichita. 1 out, no one on for the Wingnuts. They're up by 4. It's 4-0. Wichita over Grand Prairie. And Searle will deliver the 1-2. A check swing, but it's called strike 3. Home plate umpire David Frame rings him up. Second out of the inning. Searle settling down here in the 4th. He's got the first 2 batters out and has only used 4 pitches to do so. 5 pitches, I can't count. That'll bring up Taylor Oldham, the second baseman. Utility player for Wichita. Now the pitch. Be outside and low for a ball 1-0. I think he's played a little bit of outfield, but he's primarily an infielder. He'll play any of those second, third, short positions. Now the pitch, that'll be inside. 2-0. Seen him play quite a bit of third this season. And Chris McClendon was out. Now he'll step out of the box. So he's replacing Jake Cahalaleo, and that's good news for the Airhogs because Cahalaleo is a fantastic hitter. Now the 2-0 pitch is swung on and hit high in the air into shallow right field. Botts is running out from first, and it'll fall in front, between Botts and Hall, and it's a single for Oldham. He just finds the hole right there in the outfield, down the first baseline. Botts couldn't get out there quickly enough, and neither could Hall come in quickly enough to get the pop fly. So 2 outs and a runner on first. It's top of the order again. Ryan Corey coming to the plate. Already his 3rd time up at the plate here. It's the top of the 4th. It's 4-0 Wingnuts over the Airhogs. Corey, the shortstop, 1 for 2 tonight with a single, and also scored a run. Batting from the right side against the righty Searle. Oldham gets his lead at first. Searle will have to throw from the stretch now with the runner at first. He'll kick and fire on the inside corner for a strike. 0-1. Ryan Corey is looking at the situational statistics for the 2 teams tonight. And Corey has been arguably the team's MVP here for Wichita as the pitch is swung on a chopper down the 3rd baseline. It'll be a foul ball. Count moves to 0-2 on Ryan Corey. But as a leadoff man, as Corey is in the lineup for Wichita, he's batting .316 when leading off innings. With runners on base, he's batting .345. With runners in scoring position, he's batting .373. And with runners in scoring position with 2 outs, he's batting .393. Bases loaded, he's batting .600, but he only has 5 at bats, so it's a pretty small sample size. That's what you need out of a leadoff man, and it seems like Wichita's found a good one. 0-2, the count on Corey. Here comes the pitch. Oldham is moving. The pitch is inside for a ball. The throw down to second is not in time, but Oldham slides around the bag towards the center field side of the bag and slides a little bit too far. His hand unable to reach the bag, so he is tagged out. And that'll end the inning as Oldham's caught stealing, even though he had beaten the throw. Peterson actually had to pump once before he threw it because Corey, he popped up, the pitch was inside, and Corey was kind of in the way, so he had to move a bit and then throw it down. So the throw was a little bit late for that reason, but a poor slide there by Oldham gets him caught stealing, and that'll end the inning as we head to the top of the 5th. It's 4-0 Wingnuts over the Airhawks. Welcome back to Wichita. The Wingnuts held scoreless for the first time in the ball game. In the bottom of the 4th, we're here in the top of the 5th. Airhawks back up to the plate. They're down 4-0 to the Wingnuts, but they've had opportunities in the top of the 4th. They had runners at second and third and 2 outs, just couldn't bring anyone home. They'll be led off by Brian Peterson, the catcher. He just threw a runner out to end the inning. First pitch is outside for a ball, 1-0. Peterson 0 for 1 today, struck out looking in the second to end that inning. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It swung on and grounded to the shortstop, going down to Aeneas Corey. He'll come up and sidearm it over to first for the out. 6-3 on the putout. Corey not having to move but half a step to his right to make the play. Tim Brown still on the hill for Wichita. He's been pitching pretty well, but that's expected out of a guy like Brown. I say guy like Brown. It's expected out of Brown. He's 9th in the league in ERA with a 3.40 ERA. He's 8-4 this season in 18 appearances. He just pounds the zone. Here comes the pitch. It'll be in there for a strike. 0-1 to Eric Baker. Baker 0 for 1 today, grounded out. But a lot of this Wichita rotation, they just pound the zone and let their defense do the work. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, swung and lined right back up the middle, just out of the reach of Brown into center field. Baker's aboard with a hit here with 1 out in the 5th. Grand Prairie trying to get things going here. Second inning in a row where they've had a runner on base with 1 out. In fact, in the first inning, the leadoff man, Jimmy Mojica, who's coming to the plate, singled to start off the ball game. Just the second and third inning were the only innings where the Airhogs failed to get a base runner. Let's see if they can get a run or two here in this inning. Runner at first, 1 down. Jimmy Mojica, top of the order, for Grand Prairie. First pitch is in there for a strike out of the hand of Brown. So I like Brown. Just got to go up there and look for a pitch you can hit because it's going to be there. He's going to put it in the zone. There comes the 0-1. It's grounded to the right side, just out of the reach of the first baseman, Espinoza. It'll go into right field for a base knock. Baker rounding second. He'll go into third base standing up. The throw is cut off on the infield. And it'll be runners on first and third as Mojica has his second single of the ball game. He's now 2 for 2 with a walk here tonight. He's getting out of that slump that he's been in the last few games rather nicely. For nothing ball game, but Airhogs have runners at first and third as they trail the Wichita Wingnuts. Yeah, Mojica in the last 5 games, 2 for 22, batting 91, 0-9-1. But 2 for 2 here tonight, so that'll up the average as the pitch is swung on and missed. For strike 1 to Alex Nunez. Nunez, the second baseman, 0 for 2 in the ball game. He struck out looking in the first and grounded into an inning-ending double play in the third. But he's been hot for Grand Prairie here lately. As Brown will set, here comes the 0-1. It's just outside for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Nunez is 4th in the league in batting average, .356 right now. In the last 10 games, he's batting .389. Here comes the 1-1. It's outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Last 5 games, he's batting .474. 9 for 19. 3 runs scored, 4 runs batted in. Give him a home run there as well. Here comes the 2-1. It's swung on and lifted into left field. Running back is Luce, and he'll make the catch, but tagging from third and coming in to score is Baker. So the Wingnuts are on, or the Airhogs, sorry, are on the board. It's now 4-1. They trail by 3 to the Wichita Wingnuts. So a sacrifice fly for Nunez, and you get 1 run across. Hopefully that means the rest of the runs will just come pouring out. I'll bring up Abel Nieves, and he's up in the top 10 in batting average in the American Association. He's 10th, batting .334 this season. Third baseman for the Airhogs. Now the pitch is swung on and hit to the right side, but it'll get out of play. Counts 0-1 to Nieves. So far 0 for 2 in the ball game, reached on a fielder's choice and grounded out to first. Run on first base. 2 gone in the inning. It's Mojica at first for Grand Prairie. He gets his lead. And here comes the 0-1 in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. Brown still on the hill. The starter for Wichita. He'll set, kick, and offer the pitch. It's in there. 1-2 the count. Good matchup tonight in Major League Baseball between Detroit and Seattle. Of course, once you listen to this game, but as the 1-2 comes in, or the 2-1 comes in, it wasn't 1-2. It's low, out of the zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes, counts evened up. But David Price, recently acquired for the Tigers on the hill against Felix Hernandez. They're in the top of the 8th, though. Felix Hernandez has already been removed from the game. Here comes the break-even pitch. It's down and away. Ball 3 counts full now to Abel Nieves with a runner on first and 2 outs. In the top of the 5th, it's 4-1 in favor of the Wingnuts over the Airhogs. I mentioned that coming out, Felix Hernandez has already exited the game. That ended his fantastic streak he had going this season as the pitch is swung and grounded to the right side. It'll be the second baseman Oldham throwing over to get Nieves at first base. 4-3 on the putout. That'll end the inning here in the 5th. But the Airhogs score a run on a sacrifice fly by Nunez, scoring Eric Baker from third base, and it's a 3-run ball game. Wingnuts leading 4-1 over the Grand Prairie Airhogs. All right, welcome back. We're in the bottom of the fifth here in Wichita. Ryan Corey leading things off for Wichita. He was at the plate when the inning ended in the fourth. He actually had a 1-2 count on him, but he'll get a fresh slate here against Ryan Searle. Searle will wind and fire. It's in there for a strike, 0-1. Mentioned he was in there with a 1-2 count. There was a runner on first base with 2 outs. That runner was Taylor Oldham. He was caught stealing to end the inning. So Corey gets another shot at the plate. He's 1 for 2 tonight in 3 plate appearances. He'll step out of the box. He has an 0-1 count on him right now. I mentioned last half inning that Felix Hernandez had an historic run as the pitch is swung on and lifted high in the air into right field. Running back a few steps, then stopping now, having to keep drifting back is Hall, but he'll make the catch. For the first out of the inning, a fly to right. Ready for this one. Felix Hernandez ended a run tonight where he had gone 16 straight starts, pitching at least 7 innings and giving up 2 runs or fewer in those 16 starts. Tonight he left after 5 innings against the Tigers. Those are just insane numbers. Coming to the plates, Jake Luce, and the first pitch is in there for a strike. 0-1 Luce, 2 for 2 tonight, single and a double. He scored both times he's reached. Searle winds, and here comes the 0-1. It's swung on and grounded to the right side through the hole. And he'll get into right field for a base knock for Luce. It's 3 for 3 tonight. Add that to his 2 for 5 night last night. He had 2 runs in last night's ballgame as well. He could quickly become a crowd favorite here in Wichita if he keeps playing this way. Recently acquired. In fact, last night I believe was his first game in a Wingnuts uniform here in Wichita. He played with the team but was picked up right before they went on that road trip where they were gone for 2.5 weeks because of the tournament that is played here every year. Now coming to the plate is David Espinoza, and the first pitch is outside. He squared around but pulled back. Counts 1-0. So Espinoza batting from the left side. He is a switch hitter as the next pitch misses for a ball, 2-0. So against the righty, he bats from the left side. Searle will go grab the rosin bag, dry off that arm and his hand. It's 2-0 count to Espinoza. Espinoza 1 for 2 tonight. He has 2 runs batted in on a double in the third. Getting his lead over there is Luce at first. He'll run on the pitch. It's down and away for a ball. The throw down by Peterson is in time, and the tag is there by Mojica. Mojica gets up slowly. He had somewhat of a collision there. He had to go down to. He fell down to his knees when he was making the tag. He signals to the dugout though that he's good. So the second caught stealing tonight, I think. Actually, third caught stealing tonight. Second in 2 innings though. Back-to-back innings. Peterson has caught a runner this inning or this game, and then the other in the second. You got McClendon, Oldham, and now he gets Luce. Ball is low and away, so it's ball 3. But now there's 2 outs on the inning. And no one on in a 4-1 ball game led by the Wingnuts over the Airhogs. The pitch is in there for a strike on the outside corner, low in the zone. Espinoza thought it was ball 4. He started walking down the line. Now the 3-2 offering. Well, not anymore. As Espinoza calls time. Now here comes the pitch. In the dirt, that'll be ball 4. So Espinoza walks, but there's 2 outs and no one on. Now there's 2 outs and 1 on, so the base runner doesn't hurt at the moment. But Brent Cleveland is coming to the plate, and he's been dangerous this season for Wichita. He's their cleanup batter and center fielder so far tonight. 2 for 2. He has 2 steals after singling each at bat. He stole second, and he has an RBI in the ball game. So he'll come to the plate for the 3rd time against Airhawks starter Ryan Searle, and here comes the pitch. It's swung on and hit foul to the right side. It'll get out of play, well out of play. Counts 0-1. Cleveland will take his time getting in the box. Spent some time last season in affiliated baseball with the Mobile Bay Bears. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. He hits one high in the air into left center field. It'll be Baker and Carter converging, and Carter's calling for it. He'll camp under it, setting up shop, making the catch. And that'll end the inning as the Wingnuts get a hit, and they strand a runner at first. They don't score for the 2nd straight inning. And it's 4-1. We head to the top of the 6th here in Wichita. Airhawks trailing the Wingnuts. All right, we're back here in the top of the 6th in Wichita. The Wingnuts leading the Grand Prairie Airhogs 4-1. However, the Wingnuts have been held scoreless in the 4th and 5th innings. Here comes the pitch to Jason Botts. It's in there for a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Botts so far tonight, 1 for 1. He also walked in the 4th, reaching 3rd base. But that was as far as he got. Now here comes the 0-1 pitch. A check swing, and home plate umpire David Frame rings him up himself, saying, yes, he went around. Doesn't need to ask for help on that. It's 0-2 to the tall Jason Botts. Here comes the 0-2. Outside will be a ball, 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Botts. And the 1-2 offering. Swung on and grounded to the right side. Botts is 2 for 2 tonight as he singles to right field. Actually, both his hits were about the same variety. Singles to right field. So he's aboard, leadoff man on base for Grand Prairie, and he'll bring up Frazier Hall. Hall's 1 for 2 tonight. He's singled in the 4th with Botts on first base. So hopefully he's got a little more in him tonight. Hall's been hitting pretty well for Grand Prairie against Wichita this season. Here comes the pitch. It's outside, ball 1. In fact, Hall has been the best batter against Wichita for Grand Prairie this year, batting .417 in 12 games as the 1-0 pitch misses for a ball, 2 balls and no strikes. He has 2 home runs and 8 runs batted in as well. Has walked 4 times as well. As he swings and lines one down the right field line. Will it be fair? It will not. It bounces just about 3 or 4 feet foul in the Airhogs bullpen down the right field line. It counts 2-1. He was sitting on that fastball, that 2-0 fastball, and drove it, but just a little bit foul. Zach Hall against Wichita this season. He's got an on-base percentage of .463. Here comes the 2-1. It's swung on and fouled to the right side this time, out of play. So the count evens up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Some interesting stuff happened last night in Big League Baseball. You always like to hear those goofy things that happen, especially with the giveaways that teams do. You know, the first 10,000 fans or the first 2,000 fans or however many fans decide, you get a free T-shirt or whatever it is as the pitch is inside and low. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Hall. Runner on first base, no outs here in the top of the 6th. It's 4-1. Wichita leading Grand Prairie. Frazier Hall at the plate. Jason Botts on first. Tim Brown on the hill. He'll set. Here comes the payoff pitch. It's swung on and lifted into right center field. Running back is Cleveland, but he'll get there and have time to set his feet before making the catch. So a fly out to center is how Hall is retired, and we go to Matthew Burns, 0 for 2 in the ballgame. Hit a home run last night. But earlier in the year, the Rockies messed up, and they printed T-shirts for Troy Tulowitzki. It was Tulowitzki T-shirt night, and they spelled Tulowitzki wrong. And they had, I believe it was 10,000 Tulowitzki shirts, and if you brought it back, you could get a regular Tulowitzki shirt as well as a ticket to a game later on in the season. Or you could just keep the one you had that was spelled wrong, which is kind of cool. Well, kind of funny. Here comes the pitch to Burns. He grounds one to the left side. A great play there by the third baseman, McClendon, but the throw is not in time to get Burns. He actually dives headfirst into first base. He's there with a single as the ball was down the third baseline, and McClendon had to go. His momentum carried him into foul territory. It would have taken a play of Manny Machado-like prowess to get him out. But so that Tulowitzki goof happened last night, or not last night, a couple weeks ago. Last night, the Detroit Tigers goofed. Oh yes, did they ever. It was Miguel Cabrera bobblehead night, and while Miguel Cabrera's won back-to-back MVP awards, yes, back-to-back MVP awards in the American League. Those were Tigers, they're American League. Well, the bobblehead, here comes the first pitch. It's squared on and bunted by Madison Carter, but it's foul. 0-1. Runners on first and second now for Grand Prairie. Burns at first and Botts at second. Just 1 out on the inning. We're in the top of the 6th. At the plate's Madison Carter, 0 for 2 in the ballgame. He's down 0-1 in the count. So you think, okay, how do you mess up a bobblehead? Well, they had Miguel Cabrera holding 2 MVP trophies. Here comes the 0-1. It's down and away for a ball. 1-1 the count to Carter. And on the trophy, which the bobblehead was holding, it said NL MVP on both. So Miguel Cabrera apparently has won 2 National League MVPs. Here comes the pitch. It swung on. It popped up on the infield on the right side. This should be an infield fly, and it is. It's the first and the second baseman over there, Espinoza and Oldham, as they are standing back, front and back with each other. I believe it was Espinoza who made the catch. They had a little exchange of words there. I think they both called for it, neither backed off.
Now batting for the Airhogs, the catcher, number 26, Brian Peterson.
I'll bring up Brian Peterson with 2 outs. So they'll make some new ones, and the fans who have the messed up ones can go get the regular ones that say AL MVP for Miguel Cabrera as the pitch is on the inside corner for a strike to Brian Peterson. 0-2 the count on him. 0-1. I don't know why I said 2. There's 2 outs on the inning, though. Runners at first and second for Grand Prairie. They get their leads. Here comes the 0-1 offering. It's lined into center field, and that'll be a base hit. Rounding and being held up now at third base is Botts. Manager and third base coach Eric Champion gave him the windmill for a second and then decided, nope, hold up. as Brent Cleveland got the ball in a hurry. He's got a pretty good arm out there in center field. So it's a single for Peterson. That's the third single of the inning. However, no one has scored off those singles, as they've gone station to station, have the Airhogs. And it'll be Eric Baker coming to the plate now with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Righty against righty. Here comes the pitch. It's down and away for a ball, 1-0. Baker 1 for 2 in the night. He scored the only run of the ball game so far for Grand Prairie as they trail 4-1 here in this affair. Brown looks the runner back at third. He'll fire plateward. The 1-0 pitch is lined into right field, but it's right at the right fielder, Carlo Testa, so he'll make the catch, and that'll end the inning. And the tale of runners left on base continues for the Grand Prairie Airhogs. They get 3 hits on the inning, but they can't get a guy home, and it's 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the 6th here in Wichita. Well, we're back in Wichita. It's the bottom of the 6th. It's a 4-1 ball game. Airhogs scored a run in the 5th. Wichita did their damage in the first 3 innings. They scored 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and 2 in the third. Carlo Testa will lead things off for Wichita. Here comes the pitch from starter Ryan Searle. He swings at it, and it's fouled to the right side. It'll land in the seats. Foul. 0-1. Testa 0 for 2 in the ball game. A ground out in the first. And in the third inning, he struck out swinging. Testa this season as a leadoff, when he leads off an inning, is batting .404. Here comes the 0-1. The pitch is outside for a ball. A ball and a strike. And he's had 47 at-bats as a leadoff man. He's walked 3 times. Well, the 1-1 is swung on and driven high into the air in center field, but coming in about 5 steps and making the grab will be Baker for the first out. That'll bring up Chris McMurray, the catcher for Wichita. Following him is Chris McClendon. As Andy and I call him the Chris Mix. Wichita actually acquired another Mick, but his name is not Chris. Andy and I already lamented the fact that they don't have 3 Chris Micks. His name is Jared, and his last name is McDonald. Andy already touched on him. They got him in a trade with St. Paul in exchange for a player to be named later. Here comes the pitch to Chris McMurray. It's inside for a ball, 1-0. McDonald not in the lineup tonight. Maybe we'll see him tomorrow. Here comes the 1-0. Up and out of the zone. 2 balls and no strikes. McMurray has already walked once today. He scored. That was in the second. He's 0 for 1, though. He popped out to the second baseman, Nunez, in the third to end that inning. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. It's swung on and grounded to the third baseman. It's Nieves moving to his left. He'll sling it across to Botts for the out. 5-3 on the putout. That'll be 2 up and 2 down here in the 6th. No one on for Wichita, and it'll be Chris McClendon to the plate, 1 for 2. He singled in the second, but was caught stealing just a few pitches later. That was the first of 3 caught stealings tonight for catcher Brian Peterson. He's been showing off the arm that he possesses behind that dish for Grand Prairie. Searle on the hill. He'll wind in the first pitch. In there for a called strike, 0-1. And talking with some of the players last night, I made the comment on air that the field looked like it was still a little slick. And after the ballgame, I asked them, and they said yes, it was. In fact, the 0-1 pitch, it'll be out of the zone away. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count to McClendon. Last night it rained about maybe an hour before game time for a few minutes. Here comes the 1-1, and it'll find the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes to McClendon, and there's a little slipping and sliding by McClendon especially over at third base last night. I said it wasn't too bad. It wasn't soggy, just kind of slick, that turf. Now the 1-2 offering. It's grounded to the second baseman, Nunez, on the right side. He comes in, charging it, and he'll scoop it up and throw it to first for the out. 4-3 on the putout. That's a 3 up, 3 down inning for Ryan Searle here in the 6th. We head to the 7th. It's 4-1. Wingnuts leading the Airhogs. Andy will be back on the mic for you in the top of the 7th.
And welcome back. We're at the top of the 7th inning here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium in Wichita, Kansas. Andy Humphrey back with you for the 7th, 8th, and 9th here in Wichita. Wingnuts up 4-1 on the Grand Prairie Airhogs, and they have a new pitcher in there now for the starter Tim Brown. It's the right-hander Daniel Bennett. Bennett this season has an ERA of 3.18, now appearing 40 times for Wichita in relief, a record of 5-1. Also has 1 save, and right now that closer position is going to need to be filled by somebody in the bullpen for Wichita. Matt Navarez being sold earlier this week. And they also dealt away Patrick Mincy, who was a nice setup man for them earlier this year. So right now, Kevin Hooper looking for his new closer. Bennett might be one of those candidates. He's in for the 7th here tonight against the Air Hogs. His team up 4-1. Jimmy Mojica, the first batter, and it's outside for ball one. Mojica getting out of the slump pretty well in this second game of the 3-game set, 2 for 2, and he's also drawn a walk, so he's on base all 3 times tonight. And the pitch is bounced foul down the third base line. That'll move the count to 1-1. So Bennett comes in relief of Tim Brown, the starter. Worked 6 innings, only allowing 1 run. It was earned in the 5th inning. And 7 hits in the ball game. 2 walks and 3 strikeouts for Brown. Brown now in line for win number 9 on the season, if Wichita can keep the lead against Grand Prairie here throughout the rest of the game. A ball and a strike, and Bennett now sets from the stretch with nobody on base. Here comes the pitch to Mojica. It's lifted high in the air to left center field, and coming forward to his right side is Brent Cleveland, who will eventually call for it from center field and make the catch in left center, and that's out number 1 on Jimmy Mojica. So I'll bring up Alex Nunez. Tonight, Nunez is 0 for 2. Last time up, he flew out a sacrifice fly, and that drove in Eric Baker for the Air Hogs' only run of the game so far tonight. Left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher, as Nunez likes to take a lot of practice hacks before looking at the pitch, and he'll square up to bunt and bunt it foul into the Wichita dugout on the third base line, and Nunez is very sneaky with those bunts sometimes when he'll catch the corner infielders in their normal depth and try and lay one down one of the foul lines and try and get on base with his speed. Unsuccessful that time to keep it in play, and he swings and misses at the next pitch. A breaking ball from Daniel Bennett, and he's behind 0-2 in the count, Alex Nunez. Abel Nieves, the former wingnut, is on deck, due up in this top of the 7th. Air Hogs being out hit 9-7 and outscored 4-1. No errors in the ball game as the 0-2 pitch is slowly bounced down the third base line. It takes a funky bounce on the turf and it will roll foul. A little bit of backspin on the slow grounder by Alex Nunez down the third base line and keeps the count at 0-2 strikes. Daniel Bennett is a native of Tallahassee, Florida. This is his 2nd year with the Wingnuts. He is 25 years old. He's also allowed a run in only 10 of his 38 appearances prior to this one, as Nunez will get a small foul tip on that 0-2 delivery from Bennett to keep alive. 0-2 strikes in the count. Bennett has more appearances in relief than anybody on the pitching staff. So definitely a reliable guy that Kevin Hooper loves to use. Here is the 0-2 now to Nunez, and it's chopped down the first base line. It will also roll foul eventually. And Nunez fighting off a couple of pitches here. You'll see the 6th of the at-bat. Still hasn't seen a pitch out of the zone at 0-2. Air Hogs are 5-9 now against the division-leading Wichita Wingnuts. After tonight, they will have 5 more meetings against Wichita. 1 more tomorrow afternoon, starting at 2:05 p.m. And then a 4-game set. 4 games in 3 days, that is. That'll be a doubleheader on August 25th, and then 1 game each on the 26th and the 27th at Quick Trip Park. That is sharply bounced right back to the pitcher's mound, and Bennett with a quick reaction to find it into his glove and make a short toss over to his first baseman, Espinosa. 2 up and 2 down in the 7th for the reliever, Bennett. That brings up the third baseman, Abel Nieves. He's reached once tonight on the fielder's choice way back in the 1st inning. Still looking to extend his 4-game hitting streak. Now batting .331 on the season as the pitch comes from Bennett, and it's inside for ball 1. When Nieves started out the ball game at .334 batting this season, that's 10th best in the league. two Air Hogs now in the top 10 in batting. Alex Nunez now is eligible with enough at-bats in the league this year. At 356 coming into tonight, here is the 1-0. And sidearm delivery from Bennett is delivering a pitch in the zone that time for called strike one. And it's a ball and a strike to Nieves, now 29 years old, just turned 29 earlier this week. And on his 29th birthday against Laredo, he went 3 for 4. As the 1-1 is a breaking pitch just a little low that time, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs, and the bases are empty here in the top of the 7th inning. Air Hogs need to find 3 more runs here against Wichita to stay alive in this second game of the 3-game set. 2-1. That is on the outer side of the plate there for called strike 2. Count evens again at 2 balls and 2 strikes to the all-star third baseman Abel Nieves. Last couple of seasons he was a Wichita wingnut, and last season he was the batting champ at 357 batting average on the season and made it to the championship series last year with Wichita. Drives one into center field. Cleveland on the run to his right, makes the grab. He was positioned on the first base side of second base, and he had to go all the way to the other side to catch that line drive from Abel Nieves, and that will complete the 1-2-3 inning for Bennett. And we go to the bottom of the 7th inning here in Wichita, and the score is still 4-1 Wingnuts over the Air Hogs. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back. Bottom of the 7th here in Wichita. 4-1 is the lead for the home team here tonight at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. Ryan Searle back on the mound for another inning after sitting down the Wingnuts 1-2-3 in the 7th. And now he'll face Brent Dean, who lays down a bunt right back to the pitcher's mound. Searle off his mound to make the quick throw to first base and had to scamper to that ground ball pretty quickly because Dean was on his horse to first and was only beaten by about a step and a half. And that's 1 pitch, 1 out for Searle in the 7th, who is now up to 94 pitches on the night. 57 of those 94 have been strikes. He's gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 7 starts. The only time that he hasn't gone at least 6 in the last couple of months was July 2nd against Sioux City. Doing well since then, trying to go as far as he possibly can, now at 94 pitches, and will probably be given the rest of this 7th. Nobody warming in the pen for Grand Prairie. There are people standing up and stretching, but nobody officially throwing some pitches. There is a little bit of work for Wichita in the pen as Searle delivers a 1-1 to Oldham, and it's popped right next to us in the press box. That bounced off of the window in the booth just to our right-hand side. We are not protected by the foul screen here at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. The screen comes up about 20 feet behind home plate and then curves underneath to cover the stands and just falls just a bit short of the press box. So we are exposed here to any foul ball that may be coming our way. And that one was the closest one that we have seen in the last couple of days here, as that next pitch is out of the zone to Taylor Oldham. Here's the 2-2 from Searle. It's driven well into center field. Eric Baker going back a few steps near the warning track, makes the catch on the run, reaches out and finds out number 2 with that fly ball to center by Oldham. And it's now 6 consecutive batters sat down by Ryan Searle. And he'll face the top of the order once again with Ryan Corey to the plate. Corey tonight is 1 for 3, singled and scored a run in the third. Last time up, flew out to right field. So Ryan Searle now at 99 pitches. 2 outs and nobody on base, and here's pitch number 100 to Ryan Corey, and it's right down the middle for called strike 1. Jake Lucci on deck if Corey can extend the 7th here for Wichita, who are up 4-1 here at Lawrence Dumont. He'll take a pitch down and over the plate, but it's ball 1. Ryan Corey came into the game with the best on-base percentage in the league, 443. Part of the reason why he's so valuable to the Wichita team. He'll drive one into fair territory down the third base line, and chasing it is Madison Carter, the left fielder. Gets caught in a banner where a table or a tent is set up on the left field corner there. Corey will be on second with a 2-out double. Yeah, it looks like the field pass area out there in left field was in the way of that line drive from Ryan Corey, and Madison Carter had to fetch that ball from underneath a banner there in the left field side of Lawrence Dumont Stadium. And now Ryan Corey is at second base for Jake Lucci, who's 3 for 3 tonight. A couple of singles as well as a double, and he's scored twice. 2 outs and now a runner at second base. Ryan Searle trying to get out of the 7th. Searle now set here to pitch to the left-handed batter Lucci. Here is the pitch, and it's swung on and missed. In at the hands of Lucci, and he really couldn't find a way to get good contact on that one, and it's strike 1. Lucci played for the Brownsville Charros in the United League before coming here to Wichita. He's in a much better situation here. The best team in the American Association by a long shot. Right now they have a 6.5 game lead over the second best team in the league, the Winnipeg Goldeyes, as this is lined on one hop to the second baseman Nunez. He'll go to his right and make the out at first base to end the 7th inning. So a double there by Corey does not damage the Airhogs any further. No runs, a hit, and a man stranded, and we'll go to the 8th here in Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. We start the 8th inning here in Wichita, Kansas. 4-1 is the lead for the Wingnuts over the Airhogs. Third pitcher of the game now in for Wichita. It is the setup man as of now, Mike Zuzalik. Zuzalik on the season, now making another relief appearance. One of the most recently used relievers by Kevin Hooper, and this season with Wichita, he has 38 relief appearances, an ERA of 3.09, a record of 2-0. Zuzalik set to deliver to the first batter of this 8th. That's Jason Botts. First pitch is swung on, and it's on the ground to the shortstop, Ryan Corey, who does well to stop it and goes to first for the out. He had to go to his knee to field it on one hop, and it was a sharp liner by Jason Botts. And we know how much this ball can bounce off of the turf. So Ryan Corey doing well defensively there to give Mike Zuzalik an out on his first pitch of this 8th inning. One down now for Frazier Hall. Zuzalik comes in relief of Daniel Bennett, who pitched a 1-2-3 7th. No runs, no hits, no walks, and no strikeouts. First pitch to Hall is called strike 1 on the outer corner. Hall 1 for 3 tonight, had a single in the 4th inning. And it's good that he's in the lineup tonight. He wasn't a participant in last night's contest, as he will take a pitch on the outside, a breaking ball from Zuzalik. And it's a ball and a strike. Frazier Hall came into the game batting .417 against Wichita in 12 games. He's the best hitter on the Airhawks staff against this Wichita team. Here's the 1-1. It's in tight to make it 2 balls and 1 strike to Frazier Hall. In the top of the 11th inning on a game between these two on June 23rd, Frazier Hall, with 2 outs, delivered a 2-run RBI single to give the Airhogs a 2-run lead in extras, and they eventually went on to win 3-1, as that is called strike 2 on the outside corner. Frazier Hall now even in the count again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. That game was here at Wichita, and Frazier Hall has proved his worth against this team this year. Also has a couple of home runs against the Wingnuts. It's in tight again, and Frazier works the count full to 3-2. All 7 home runs on the year in total, 29 driven in for the former Los Angeles Angels infielder. Or in their Double-A club, I should say. He played for South Bend in 2013 before coming to Grand Prairie mid-season last year. He pops one foul down the left field side. Count still 3-2. Due up in this 8th inning after Hall will be Matthew Burns. Still a full count, and Zuzalik sets it from the stretch. And here comes the payoff pitch, and it's swung on and missed. A breaking ball snuck under the swing of Frazier Hall there, and he will sit down for out number 2. Two up and 2 down for the relief pitcher Mike Zuzalik, who signed with the Wingnuts late in the offseason this year. Only allowed 1 run in the last 19 appearances he's had, pitched a total of 18 1/3 in those last 19 games, and just 1 run. He needs 1 out here against Matthew Burns to complete a 1-2-3 inning, and he'll deliver strike 1 on the outside edge to Burns, who's 1 for 3 tonight, batting as the DH. Had a single in the 6th inning. A 2-run shot last night, giving him 3 home runs in his last 4 games. Those are his first 3 home runs of his professional career, as he lifts one high in the air to center field, right center that is, and it will be Cleveland drifting over to his left-hand side to make the catch. Out there in the outfield. Another 1-2-3 inning for the Wichita bullpen, and we go to the bottom of the 8th now, and Ryan Searle will trot back out there for the Airhogs as they trail it 4-1 here in the second game of this 3-game road series. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Bottom of the 8th in Wichita. Airhogs trailing the Wingnuts 4-1. Here in the second game of this third game pregame set. Take another peek at your out-of-town scoreboard here in the American Association. Got one game that has gone final. Winnipeg are winners over the Sioux Falls Canaries on the road, 4-3 the final. Top of the 8th inning, Lincoln on top of Sioux City on the road, 6-1 the score there. Bottom of the 8th in Kansas City, and the T-Bones all over Gary South Shore in the bottom of the 8th, 6-0. New Jersey in the top of the 9th are on top of St. Paul in that interleague matchup there, 4-1 is the score. Obviously, as James and I mentioned earlier, Laredo and Amarillo rained out for the second straight night as they burned the field. The pitch to Espinosa on the 1-0 count is lined on the ground to Jason Botts, and that will be out number one as he takes it to the bag himself. The field burning there delayed yet another game, and they'll have a doubleheader tomorrow and see if they can reschedule it for a different date to complete that three-game set in Amarillo between the Sox and the Lemurs. So Ryan Searle gets an out in this 8th inning here. There is some action now in the bullpen for Grand Prairie. Tyrell Harris is throwing pitches if Ryan Searle is not able to get out of this 8th. Another game that did not get underway tonight, scheduled to start, was Fargo Moorhead visiting the Three Rivers Eagles. That one delayed, possibly due to rain as well. So that will most likely get rescheduled. Brent Cleveland, the next batter. And Ryan Searle winds for the first pitch to him. And it's taken on the higher third of the zone for called strike one. Cleveland tonight has an RBI single in the first inning, got another single in the third, which could have drove in a run, but David Espinosa was put out at home plate by Frazier Hall. A throw from right field. That is outside, and it gets away from Peterson there with nobody on base. It's a ball and a strike to the center fielder, Brent Cleveland, a 30-year-old veteran and a native of Lufkin, Texas. After him will be Carlo Testa in the Wichita lineup in the bottom of the 8th inning. Wichita out-hitting Grand Prairie 10-7 and outscoring them 4-1. But Wichita have been held scoreless since the third inning by Ryan Searle, so starting to settle down here in the second half of this start for him. He's over 100 pitches, and he gets a foul tip there from Cleveland to move the count to a ball and 2 strikes. Ryan Searle, last time that he went at least 8 innings was back against the Kansas City T-Bones on July 9th. That was at Kansas City. He was just 1 out away from a complete game. He allowed 1 run on 8 hits in that victory. The pitch to Brent Cleveland is in tight for ball 2, evening the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Ryan Searle does have some durability to him. The most that he has ever thrown is 135 pitches in one outing, as the next pitch is on the ground to Mojica, goes to his right, jumps and tries to make a throw to first, and it's not going to be in time. The one-hop throw to Jason Botts was just a little late to the first base bag, and Cleveland will be on first with the infield single. Botts had to try and stretch to get it to his glove a little bit quicker, but just not in time to beat Brent Cleveland, who has a couple of stolen bases tonight, so Brian Peterson should best be alert with Brent Cleveland at first base now. Ryan Peterson is 3 of 5 in catching base runners in this game, but he's allowed 2 stolen bases to Cleveland tonight as Carlo Testa bats next. Squares around to bunt, it's down the third base line. Nieves charging in, bare hands, throws to first, and it's wide of the bag. It goes all the way back to the wall on the right field side. Getting into third base is Cleveland as they will try to fetch the ball near the Airhogs bullpen, and it is going to be ruled out of bounds. Cleveland will have to stay at third base, and Testa will be given second on that errant throw by Abel Nieves to the right side of Jason Botts. It rolled underneath the bench, it appears, on the right field side where the Airhogs bullpen is located. And they could not find it underneath that bench, so it is officially ruled out of bounds. And that'll put runners at second and third with only 1 out in this bottom of the 8th inning. and it'll bring up Chris McMurray as the Air Hogs infield shifts into the green part of the turf. McMurray tonight 0 for 2, reached on a walk in the second and scored a run on a wild pitch. He'll take strike one on the first pitch he sees from Searle in this at-bat. Chris McMurray is a .280 hitter with runners in scoring position. A couple of home runs and 44 runs driven in situations like this. Here's the 0-1, just outside the plate that time, a ball and a strike. On deck is Chris McClendon for Wichita, another dangerous hitter with runners in scoring position. Only one out in this bottom of the 8th. Wichita hasn't scored since the 3rd, but have a golden opportunity here to extend their 4-1 lead on the Air Hogs before they go to the top of the 9th. Here is the pitch on the 1-1. It's grounded to Mojica. He stops it, and the runners will have to stay put as he throws to first base. A big ground ball out for Ryan Searle. And it's now 2 down in the bottom of the 8th inning. And that'll bring up Chris McClendon, who is 1 for 3 tonight with a single way back in the second. I did mention that he is a good hitter with runners in scoring this year, especially with 2 outs. 32 at-bats, so not that many this year, but he is batting .438 in those tries on the season with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. That's the situation we have here in this bottom of the 8th. Left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher as Searle sets at the belt. Here comes the first pitch to McClendon, and it's up high for ball 1. So Tyrell Harris is warming if Ryan Searle cannot get out of this bottom of the 8th with runners on second and third and 2 outs in this 8th inning here. Carlo Testa will reach base on a single, and it's an error by the third baseman Abel Nieves as it is bounced off of the Air Hogs dugout into foul territory by Chris McClendon. A ball and a strike with Brent Dean, the DH, on deck. Cleveland at third, Testa at second. 2 down in the bottom of the 8th for Wichita. We have a 3-run lead right now on the Grand Prairie Air Hogs. They can take the 3-game series here tonight and move to 58-26 on the year. Searle looking for the pitch he wants now. Gets it as he sets from the stretch, and swing and a miss by McClendon on a pitch low and in from Ryan Searle. It moves the count to 1-2. Chris McClendon last season played for Gateway in the Frontier League, native of Lufkin, Texas. And can come up big for Wichita here if he gets a base hit with runners on second and third and 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Ryan Searle on the 1-2, in tight again, and Peterson had to do well sliding to his right side to block it in front of him. That makes the count 2-2. Well, the series finale tomorrow afternoon is scheduled for 2:05 p.m. Your slated pitching matchup will be John Link throwing for the Wichita Wingnuts and Danny Gutierrez on the mound for the Air Hogs. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Chris McClendon. Runners on second and third, 2 gone in the 8th inning. The pitch is low and in again to McClendon, and it's a full count as Peterson walks slowly from home plate and now will go out to the pitcher's mound to talk with Ryan Searle. Now Searle is at 121 pitches in this 17th start of the year for him. He is 0-1 against Wichita. Only start against him this year was on July 15th. Got a loss, working 6 innings, allowing 4 runs on 9 hits, 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. This outing, he's allowed 4 runs on 12 hits. And he's got 2 walks and 2 strikeouts through 7 2/3 so far, trying to get out of this 8th inning against Chris McClendon with runners on second and third. Here is the payoff pitch. It is slowly bounced down the right side. Ryan Searle chasing it. It's going to be fielded by Botts, and Searle gets to the bag, and he raises his hands in jubilation as he gets out of that jam for the Air Hogs, and He gets through 8 innings here in this start without allowing a run in the last 5 innings. So the Wingnuts will strand a couple of runners after 2 hits and not cross a run on that board in the 8th inning. And we'll go to the 9th with the Air Hogs down 3 runs to Wichita. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back. Top of the 9th inning, the Air Hogs trail 4-1 to the Wichita Wingnuts. And in to close out the victory for Wichita is the left-hander Alex Hinshaw. Hinshaw on the season with Wichita has 32 appearances, a record of 2-1, ERA of 2.20, and has pitched phenomenally in his last few appearances for Kevin Hooper and the Wingnuts. A former big leaguer as well. He pitched briefly in the San Francisco Giants minor league system and then got the call up to the big leagues in 2008. Appeared 48 times in relief in 2008 for the Giants and also a few times in 2009. And most likely is the leading candidate to take the vacant closer spot that was left open by Matt Navarez here in Wichita. First pitch to the first batter this 9th is Carter, and now it's popped up to the right side. Going over to call for it is the second baseman, Oldham, and there was a little bit of confusion out there between him and Espinosa. Oldham went behind him and then had to reach over with his glove on his left hand to go over to his right side to make that catch on the pop fly out. Could have been costly there, but no damage done, as that's one pitch, one out for Hinshaw in the 9th on Madison Carter, who will most likely finish his night 0 for 4. Now the next batter is the 8-hitter Brian Peterson. Peterson last time up got a single in the 6th. That 6th inning was the one where the Air Hogs left the bases loaded despite getting 3 hits. They couldn't allow a run to get past the plate there as Peterson pops one foul down the right side, strike 1. Hinshaw comes in relief of Mike Zuzalik, setting him up in the 8th inning with a 1-2-3 8th. Got 1 strikeout. Hinshaw, the 4th pitcher used by Kevin Hooper, the manager. Hinshaw was born in Ponomo, California, and now lives in Beaverton, Oregon. That's low to Peterson on that pitch, ball 1. Before coming to the Wingnuts, Hinshaw started his season with the Bridgeport Bluefish in the Atlantic League. Right-handed batter, left-handed pitcher, 1 out, bases empty, top of the 9th, and the Air Hogs need 3 runs. Here's the pitch on the 1-1, and it's on the inside corner for called strike 2, I should say, to Peterson. On deck is Eric Baker. So Peterson would like to try and set things up for Baker to try and bring the top of the order to the plate here in this ninth. Here's the 1-2 from Hinshaw. Swung on and missed. Curveball there fooled Brian Peterson, and it's 2 up and 2 down in the ninth. The bullpen for Wichita has sat down the last 8 Airhogs batters since Daniel Bennett relieved Tim Brown starting off the 7th inning. So it's Eric Baker's chance to try and extend this ninth for the Airhogs. Baker tonight is 1 for 3. Scored a run, the only run so far by the Airhogs in the 5th inning, and extended his hitting streak to 7 games as he looks at a pitch a little high from Hinshaw for ball 1. Baker's strike zone is a little bit smaller than most. He only stands at 5'10", the 26-year-old rookie in his first professional season. Set on the mound to deliver the 1-0 is Hinshaw. And here comes the pitch, and it's on the outside corner this time, called strike 1. Hinshaw this season for Wichita has gotten 2 saves. Now looking for number 3 here tonight. Matt Navarez left the American Association, second in the league with 18 saves as the pitch comes and it's swung on and missed by Baker. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jimmy Mojica on deck, but he can't come to the plate unless Baker can reach here. With 2 outs and the bases empty. Hinshaw a strike away from save number 3. And closing out a 4-1 victory for Wichita as the 1-2 comes to the plate just outside to Eric Baker, the rookie, and it's 2-2. Airhogs in danger of getting the longest losing streak that they have had all season. Right now it's at 4 games, and it's tied for the longest losing skid that they've had all year. This is bounce foul down the third baseline. That was a streak that they got when they started out with a loss in the second game of a doubleheader against Wichita way back on June 8th. And then they followed that up, getting swept by the Winnipeg Goldeyes on the road between June 10th and 12th. They got swept by Laredo earlier this week, lost the first game of this 3-game set, and now that pitch is outside to Baker. It fills up the count, 3-2. Right-handed batter against a left-handed pitcher. Airhogs also haven't had a winning streak longer than 4 games this year either. 3-2 pitch, now on the way from Alex Hinshaw. That is tipped foul into the screen by Eric Baker under that swing. Baker hitting .225 this year in his first professional season in Indy ball. Played his college ball at Rogers State, didn't jump straight into professional baseball out of college. Hinshaw looks in at the signals from McMurray, now gets the pitch he wants. And another payoff delivery comes to the plate. It is called strike 3 on the outer half of the zone. And Alex Hinshaw earns save number 3 here tonight in the second game of this 3-game set. Completes the 4-1 victory for Wichita, their 58th of the season. We'll be back in just a little bit to wrap things up here from Lawrence Dumont Stadium in Wichita, Kansas. Wichita are winners over the Airhogs 4-1. Stay tuned for our post-game wrap-up. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. So welcome back to Lawrence Dumont Stadium in Wichita, Kansas. We just went final here in the second game of this three-game set. Wingnuts once again victorious over the Airhogs by a score of 4-1 tonight. A little bit of a closer victory for Wichita in this second game. They won 11-4 last night against the Airhogs, jumping out to an 11-0 lead. But the pitching was phenomenal in the last, or at least the second half of this game. Ryan Searle does get a complete game, going 8 innings, and was the only pitcher used by Eric Champion tonight, but he did pick up loss number 8 on the season. 8 total innings pitched, 4 runs given up on 12 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. He did not allow a single run since the third inning and got out of a nice jam in the 8th with runners on second and third and 1 out. So he pitched pretty well, settling down in the second half of his 17th start of the year, but the offense just wasn't able to give him the runs to stay with the Wichita Wingnuts here tonight, as they were able to jump out to the early lead and keep the Airhogs down in the runs column as they earn their second win here in this series against the Airhogs, and they move to 10-5 against Grand Prairie this season. The winning pitcher tonight for Wichita is Tim Brown. 6 innings work for him, 1 earned run allowed on 7 hits, 3 strikeouts, and 2 walks for Brown, who moves to 9-4 on the season. And getting the save with a 1-2-3 ninth is Alex Hinshaw, 3rd save of the year for him. He gets 2 strikeouts in a 1-2-3 ninth. And the Wingnuts move to 58-26 on the year. Grand Prairie, meanwhile, 36-48, 12 games under 500, and now 22 back of the Wichita Wingnuts in the South Division. And it doesn't help them in the wild card race either, widening the gap between them and the Laredo Lemurs, who currently hold first place in the wild card. So they'll try to salvage things here in this 3-game set with a win in the series finale tomorrow afternoon. On a Sunday afternoon here in Wichita, the pitching matchup is slated to be John Link for the Wichita Wingnuts and Danny Gutierrez for the Grand Prairie Airhogs. So a battle between a couple of right-handers tomorrow for you here on Ustream. You listen to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. First pitch is scheduled for 2:05 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. We'll take a look at your final lines for tonight's game. The Wichita Wingnuts score 4 runs on 12 hits, commit no errors, and they leave 6 men on base. The Grand Prairie Airhogs, meanwhile, score 1 run on 7 hits, 1 error, and 8 men left on base for them tonight. So that's going to do it for us from Wichita, Kansas at Lawrence Dumont Stadium. Once again, our final score, the Wichita Wingnuts 4, the Grand Prairie Airhogs 1. We thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball live on Ustream. We hope to see you again tomorrow afternoon at 2:05 p.m. for the final game of this 3-game set here in Wichita, and the final game of the road trip for the Airhogs, as they will return home on Monday of next week to start a 3-game home series with the Laredo Lemurs. But that'll do it for us tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. For James Nasser, I'm Andy Humphrey. So long from Wichita, Kansas, and we hope to see you again tomorrow afternoon. So long, everyone.